The fellow waiting in the wings is really awesome. That's it. He's an incredible, and I don't mean awesome in that, oh, dude, you're awesome. I mean awesome in that the things he does inspires awe. They do, and I don't just mean the work stuff, because look, in the end of the day, whatever you do in the entertainment business, if you make a cool film, awesome, that's great, I guess, and make a TV show for 10, whatever, that's cool, but it's like that's all cool stuff that keeps us busy and hopefully entertains people. But what the real value is when you take the cachet you've built up or that's been given to you, and you do something with it. So as much as Paul Haggis is the Oscar winner, which is cool, and he's worked with all the talented, you know, directors and writers and actors you can imagine, it was also cool. The stuff that he does in Haiti is more cool. He started this thing called Artists for Peace and Justice. Predates the big earthquake in Haiti. I am a member of the Canadian wing of Artists for Peace and Justice on the board. I've seen firsthand the stuff that he's done. Education, health, hope, all this stuff that Paul Haggis has been a part of. It's so interesting to watch him work down in Haiti that you almost forget. He's also this incredible filmmaker. He's just done this film called The Third Person, which is really good. It goes weird. There's some darkness in this film, but I guess Paul's always been very honest about the fact that a lot of that comes from within him. Shall we get into it? Paul Haggis is going to make his way in. Take a look at this.
You starting to understand the situation?
What do you want from me?
Unless you think your wife is gonna be better off with a husband who has a bloody stump for a head, I want you to sit down on that curb, put your hands on your head, and do nothing until I speak with these officers.
I'm not sitting on no curb. I'm not putting my hands on my head for nobody.
Paul Haggis!
Great to be back. Thank you for having me
Lovely to
again.
see you.
Good to see you.
Man, listen, I love talking to you about your films because you do things that no one's gonna do in mainstream media. You have these challenging scenes and challenging stories. Third Person is the same way.
See, I thought you were going to just talk to me about my sexy new glasses.
Listen, they are wonderful glasses.
Yes.
Yeah. What's those frames? Right.
This is my ex-girlfriend helped me pick these out, and then she said, "Oh no, you got to get these. They're really nerdy." I went, oh, you just want to make sure I'm not with any other man or woman ever, you know? And she said, no, they're really nerdy. I said, well, why is that? I said, nerdy is sexy.
Nerdy is sexy.
Go figure. Women, we don't understand them.
But listen,
that's why I wrote this movie. I don't understand women.
She's your ex-girlfriend.
Yes, I know. So she wanted me to look like a fool, I'm sure. Right. So that's what I do now.
Well, they look good.
Well, thank you.
They look good.
You're a guy. You don't know anything.
You're right, I don't.
It's true.
I don't.
And that's what the film's about. We don't know anything.
Yeah, but I like that. I like that idea. But we don't know anything, but we're ready to blame somebody, and we're ready to fight it out, and we're ready to ignore sometimes hard truths.
And we're able to believe. We're able to believe sometimes when we shouldn't. We're able to trust someone and imbue them with the trust that maybe they don't deserve. But it was one does that question. You know, if you trust someone who's completely untrustworthy, no matter what the evidence, and just keep trusting them, keep believing in them, even when they don't believe in themselves.
Right.
Do they become what you imbue them with?
So where does that come from in you? Because I know you said that you tell these stories often, and there's a part of you in them.
Yeah. Well, that was one. I asked 3 questions because I wanted to write about, I always love writing about things I don't understand. And this one was relationships, right? Love. I don't understand any of this stuff. And so I just actually took these 3 couples and put a question in the middle of each of them as to some way I was trying to work through loving an impossible woman. And her in love with an impossible man. And I just set those in 3 different sets of characters. People will say, oh, Liam Neeson is you because he's a writer. Well, that's pretty easy. They're all actually me. Yeah.
The thing about Liam Neeson, which is, actually, here's a clip of Liam Neeson talking about you.
Oh, wow.
And he sent me the script, and I thought, he's fucking brave. I'm doing action movies these days. And he's sending me this script about a writer who's scared and vulnerable and guilt-ridden and getting over a tragedy, and I thought, yeah, maybe I can relate to this in some way, you know. So I'm glad I took the dive, and he's a wonderful director.
He's so sweet and humble.
He is, right? Yeah. But that thing, so he is dealing with all those things in his life, and it's heavy. And what were the considerations in your mind before you decided to send it to him?
No, I mean, all that stuff is underneath, and they have this fabulous love affair. It's him and Olivia Wilde. And I thought, well, as an age difference, that's what it's going to be like. And the chemistry is amazing. Yeah. These 2 just love each other, and you can tell. And they torture each other, but they love each other. It's so much
Dude, the
fun.
torture between each other in this film was just sadly all too true for lots of people. You can relate to some of that, right?
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
When you watch it played out, other actors playing out things that maybe you have experienced in some respects. When you see it back, what does it feel?
No, I mean, it was the same as writing it. And when you're writing is something so personal. This took me 2.5 years to write, and you have to relive moments that that were wonderful and that's sad, or that were terrible and that tears you apart. But you have to keep going over that scene, over that scene, over the scene. I mean, this was 2.5 years of, gosh, 5-hour days. I'm sorry, 5-day weeks, 6-day weeks, 6 and 8 hours a day writing, and just getting it wrong and throwing it out, and getting it wrong and throwing it out, and so it was just torture. Someone asked me, some magazine asked me to 10 questions, and the first question is describe yourself clinically, and I said either a narcissist with masochistic tendencies or vice versa. And so I think I might be a masochist with narcissistic tendencies.
Boy, is one of them better or worse? I don't know.
Exactly. I know, exactly.
Listen, once you realize, if you think that may be truly who you are,
Yeah.
you need to heal yourself, don't you?
Oh, God. Just give me the pill. Give me the pill.
When you're spending that much time in front of a computer writing, you type, you don't do longhand, right?
Type.
Is there a mania that sets in after all those hours?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very hard to just sit there. You get so much, I have to stand and pace or walk outside or do something. But one thing that really helps is I tend to write in public a lot, and I understand why other writers do that, is because if you're writing alone, I can write alone usually in my office or my loft for maybe 3 hours, and I just get so stir crazy. And if I write in public, I can fool myself into thinking that I'm still part of humanity. And even though it's around me, and I don't want people to talk to me. Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not listening to people. I'm not listening to their conversations. I'm not feeding off it. I just hear that buzz, and that makes me feel that I'm still part of life.
You don't have headphones on. You don't just
no, I don't do that. Why? No, I want to hear what's around me, and but I throw it into the background because you're so focused, but you feel like you're still part of life.
But if somebody recognizes you and says, "Hey, man, you're that guy that made that movie,"
You have to pick the right place to write. I don't write. I write now in like hotel lobbies, like the boutique hotels where a lot of people don't come through, or places like that. Soho House or someplace that. I can't write at Starbucks anymore.
No, that would be a bit different.
Yeah.
I wonder how much entourage reference you would get too if you're out there in public.
That's where people recognize me.
That must have been a lot of fun.
That was so much fun.
Experience.
Yeah.
It's sort of a true Hollywood story in a way, isn't it?
Completely true. Yes.
Entourage, I always looked at it and thought it was like Sex in the City, but for guys.
Yeah, it's true.
In the biggest way.
It's interesting, for your life in cinema now, and you started in television in a lot of ways, and how television now has taken on some of those really complicated moments that we're talking about that used to be in cinema in the 70s.
It's true.
So, Sopranos for a minute, or The Wire, or Breaking Bad, of course, challenging people in a way.
Even Orange is the New Black. Things like that.
Yeah.
So, you go back to your TV days, could you ever have imagined that this is where it was going to be?
When I was doing Different Strokes and the Facts of Life.
Yeah, or this, watch this, look at this. I like this one.
You take the kids and Lenny. Who will come out on top, Nell or her kids?
No party. Mother, you wound me. I will if you have a party in this house.
You take the kids and Lenny. Saturday.
You take the kids, man.
Yeah, horrible man.
No, but look, so you worked on, that was Mos Def.
That's Mos Def.
That's a kid, Mos Def in that.
Mos Def as a kid, yeah.
Could you identify at that moment that Mos Def would go on to be a very interesting performer?
No, of course not. He was a funny guy. He was a good actor. He was a good kid. When I heard he was Mos Def, I went, what? and of course, yeah, I'd seen him. He looks basically the same. He was like 16 then.
You Take the Kids was supposed to be kind of an African-American take on Roseanne, at least as I read about it, pre-LA riots, pre-Rodney King, right, like 1990-ish. That show today would be different, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be funny. This one wasn't funny at all. Yes. It'd be well written because someone else would write it. Yes.
Did you write all of them?
No.
No, you directed, right?
I wrote the pilot with my friend and I directed it. Yeah.
The friend you wrote it with, were they white or black?
White.
So two white people were writing this pilot.
We were asked to them. We said, why? Why are you doing that to us? And we pitched something else, and I think it was Jeff Sagansky where I said, no, you need to do this one. Oh. Yeah, no, that was Hollywood. It was like, that's the show we were given, and we went, okay, we need to get paid this month. That's the show we'll do.
It's a great exercise, right?
Yes.
How do you put together...
It's ridiculous, but it's great.
How did you put together the research or the concept of writing, which is an important story, the African-American experience? Because Roseanne's an important sitcom.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't give that a lot of thought here, but this is before Crash. I mean, for Crash, I did a hell of a lot of research. I did lots, and I did a lot of interviews. I read a lot about the American experience for various people, and I came to understand it in a very profound way before I wrote about it. And you just, if you can understand the given circumstances of a person's life, I think you can write that person. Right. People say, well, how can you write a black character? Well, we have to understand what kind of black character. I mean, there's 4 or 5 in Crash. You know, there's the middle-class guy. There's the artist. There's the the director. There's the 2 punks on the street. Which kind of black character? You know, and because Crash and America is more about class than race today, and that's a very bad word to say. If you just no, we don't have a class society. Oh yeah, we do. Of course we do.
Pleasure to see you as always, bud.
Good seeing you. Thank you so much for listening.
Paul Haggis, everybody. Film Third Person. Check it out. We'll be right back.